This program contains crazy material, including offensive language. Listening discretion is advised.
Welcome to a VO's Padded Room podcast. So put on your straitjackets and join Big Jim and Brad Storm as they probe inside the mind of a new guest each week. So strap up and let's do this.
Our guest this week on a VO's Padded Room podcast doesn't just use his mic skills in the padded room. Oh no. He also steps into the octagon and squared circle as he introduces the many warriors that wage war for a living. Our guest has worked for the likes of the UFC, World Extreme Cage Fight, Professional Fighters League, and Golden Boy Promotions, to name a few. And he's never shy about getting amped up. Our guest is also a Christian minister and co-founder of Anchor of Hope Ministries. It's time to get strapped in the padded room because Joe Martinez, you are locked in and mic up.
Yeah.
That was hot.
That was hot.
We finally figured this out.
Oh man, I'm glad because I've been waiting for months for this to happen.
We got to go a little bit. You know, I like to go back in time about being a kid and all, but let's go back in time to a couple of months ago when we actually recorded this episode.
At this time, I'm going to ask you to fasten your seatbelts.
Yeah. Was it back in May?
Yeah. Oh, geez, time does fly by fast.
Yeah.
What happened, Jim? What happened?
I think the connection, and it just didn't work out. One or two of us wasn't even recorded. It was a nightmare.
But we're back here, Joe, and it's good to have you on the show, man. I could call you kind of a mentor. You know, you're the first person what I consider, I think, a top-tier ring announcer. You are a top-tier ring announcer. When I was ring announcing around the Southeast, you are who I wanted to emulate because you are there. You're where I wanted to be. And you are the first person to ever really, if I reached out for a question, you would give me an answer. And this was back in 2012. And I don't forget things. And I really appreciate you for giving me the time and, giving me answers to things that I didn't know. Because I never reached that pinnacle of being in front of a UFC crowd or a WWE crowd. And I appreciate that.
Oh man, thank you, Brad. I mean, I'm happy to hear that. I often get emails from several aspiring ring announcers out there, and I like to encourage people because I wasn't encouraged getting in myself. To be a mentor is a compliment. Thank you, and I hope that we can continue to grow our friendship as well.
Yeah.
Getting a little sentimental here about all this, man. I mean, Jim, you might need to step away.
I know. Y'all need a moment.
I was taught at a young age. I was just taught at a young age in the pro wrestling circuit that you got to shut your mouth, you got to stay humble, and you got to listen and respect the people that help you out. Because there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to help you out. They look at you as competition. They don't want to give you the keys to the kingdom. And, and the people that are confident don't worry about that stuff. They're confident in what they do, and they don't worry about anybody up and coming. They want to bring those people up. That's how it was for me in the fire department, too. I mean, if any rookies that came in, I'd always want to help them out because I knew how hard it was for me.
That makes sense. Yeah. I was actually speaking to a gentleman yesterday who wants to be a ring announcer. He's been in the game for about 6 years. And he's like, man, when do you think I'm going to catch a break? And I was like, oh my gosh, 6 years. I mean, I've been in this game for over 25, and I don't know if I consider what I have a break now, but I mean, I'm in a very comfortable position with UFC and other sports. We're to the point where now I don't have to send out demos.
Yeah, your name's already out there.
Because I think my work is pretty readily available to people. What I was told, I met Jimmy Lennon Jr. back in 2004 for the first time, and I was in the same situation. I said, geez, Jimmy, I've been doing this, I've been announcing baseball since 96 and been boxing, for the last 4 or 5 years. He goes, really? That's it? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I've been around for 25 years. Yeah. But the advice that Jimmy gave me, that his dad gave him, was to have a career and do something that's going to bring you a steady paycheck, because this thing here is feast or famine. And you know that. I mean, gigs come and go. Pandemics happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even in voiceover, you got to, when you're starting out, you have to have some kind of supplemental income. You know, some people hit the jackpot.
Right.
But then there's others that they have to have that, side income, that side hustle. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you want to get the training, if you want to get the education, and you want to get those experiences, you got to have weekends off with ring announcing, though. You got to have those weekends off. That's vital. But you got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. And you just got to get out there.
And you got to persevere. But I tell people too, I mean, for every no, there's a yes behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere, somebody's going to say yes to you, and that's going to be an opportunity. But just remember that when they ask you down the road, to say yes to them, don't ever get too big for the opportunity.
Yeah, I like that.
Everybody's concerned about pricing in voiceover, right? And you look at the ring announcer spectrum. When I originally got in doing pro wrestling shows back in the 90s, I was making $50 a pop. And back then gas wasn't so expensive. So, you made some money here and there. But you really didn't there was no set like, okay, well, I can charge this amount of money here. If I'm doing MMA, I can charge more money than pro wrestling. There was none of that. So what advice would you give anybody out there about, how to price your services? And there's going to be a lot of people that do it for free.
And you're right. I mean, I've been undercut after being offered what I asked for, as far as a rate, and then lost a gig simply because someone was cheaper, But I believe you get what you pay for in most cases.
Yeah.
The value that you put on yourself is a value that you believe in. And if people want to come and undercut you, then they don't believe in you. So it's okay to walk away from those things. But if it's something that you feel like you want to do, like I like to help people out. I like to help organizations grow. If I get those chances, then I will. And I might take $1,200 to do a show.
Yeah.
But I tell them, let's try not to share this with anybody, because I don't want to cheapen the brand.
Right.
But my brand.
You don't have a rate card.
If UFC found out I was doing shows for bucks, dude,
they would punch you.
It's over.
Yeah.
And then also, I think you don't want to resent the promotion because you're taking such a hit.
Yeah, and it's making you sick to your stomach that you actually did that. Yeah.
You're like, why am I here? I'm doing 3 times the amount of work for 500% less.
Well, the thing is, too, everybody thinks, you just get in front of in the squared circle, you get your mic, and you just read off cards. It's not, there's a lot that goes into being a ring announcer. And a lot of times you got to assist the promoter in running the show properly. I mean, do you do that?
I have. I get to no, but I think, and it could be an age thing, where I just like, okay, the TV portion's over. They back in these 2 final fights that are these 2 4-rounders, and everybody just lollygagging. I'm like, look, TV's over. Let's go. Get them in the ring, and let's get these fights done.
Let's hustle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hate post undercards.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense to me. If that's like after the main event, right?
Right. Yes.
So why everybody's leaving?
Exactly. Yeah, they don't really add up to me either.
No, they're supposed to be dark matches, or that's what they do in wrestling, like dark matches.
They kind of null and voids the term, main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. Is it really the main event? I mean, I remember I don't know if it was UFC or it was an organization that had. It might have been Bellator, but it had fights after the main event. And I'm like, where the hell's the main? When's the main event coming up?
Ah, yeah.
Because I missed it. I just jumped in at the end. And it was like, these were fights after the main event. And I was really confused about that. But what has been I know when I was doing a show, a guy got hurt. They had to wait for an ambulance to come. There was a 2-hour delay. Have you had any kind of experience like that where you had to keep the fans sitting in their seats?
I have, and I'm not that entertainment. Thankfully, one time when it happened, I think I was in Montana or North Dakota, and I worked with Al Bernstein and Benny Ricardo. Benny he does stand-up comedy. So during this 1.5-hour hiatus from fights,
yes.
Benny got in the ring and started doing a bit.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, cool. And then Al Bernstein got up and he did a little bit of his own. So that was one of those experiences. But I mean, heck, I've been at shows where the ambulance is gone and you're sitting for 90 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
Every now and then you just pop on and say, hey, folks, we're still waiting,
Yeah.
Apologies.
Go to the concessions, all that stuff.
Liquidate, urinate, whatever you got to do.
buy some beer. You've landed some opportunities in film, right? You've been on The Kingdom, correct? And how does a ring announcer go about getting jobs in actual film? Do you got to get an agent? I know you said you had a reel. Did you send that out on LinkedIn? What did you do?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't do anything. Mike Bell.
That's even better.
Yeah, it was, and those are the best ones. You're like, you want me? Why? I don't even have social media. I mean, I'm completely off the grid.
Passive film.
Yeah. So Mike Beltran, the referee, he actually asked me if I was interested in doing that Kingdom show, and I said, yeah. I had no idea about it, what it was. So I went and did an episode, and then they called me back for the series finale, main event on that one. So that was great. But the other one, the movie I did was called Divine Fury, and it's a Korean movie. So I imagine I'm subtitled in it, and which is really neat. I'm subtitled. But I was mowing the lawn, and my wife comes out and she goes, "Hey, these people are trying to get a hold of you." And I said, "Who?" And she's like, "I don't know, these people from Korea about some movie."
Nice.
So I call the guy, and he goes, "Man, he's like, I looked everywhere for you. I couldn't find you. I looked on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere." And finally, he actually found me through our ministry website and emailed it. And then my wife says, "Hey, this guy wants to." So I call him. He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, shoot, you guys must be highly interested because I'm very impossible to find. So let's do something, and it worked out.
Yeah.
I was able to go out there and shoot for 3 days, not in Korea, but in Bakersfield. And it was fun. It was a good time.
And you get to make some money on as well. So that's always fun too, doing what you love and making some cash and getting to go see different places. Has travel ever been a burden for you? I mean, do you get like, oh my God, I really got to go to California? Or as the older you get, does it get tougher?
There's a little bit more anxiety, and it's not because of any virus or it's just I have a little bit of social anxiety sometimes. Yeah, and I can't even.
It's weird with us
too. I will often just put headphones in my ears with nothing on them, just so people won't talk to me. Yeah,
and it's nothing against them either.
I love people, but I just sometimes want to be in my own space, my own headspace. I don't want to entertain anybody, because when people are like, "Hey, you're an announcer. Oh my God, announce this for me."
Yeah.
My Venmo, pay me, and then I will.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cash App, Venmo, you name it, we got it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, because it's funny, like we've been in front of crowds, I mean, all of our lives, right? I was a cheerleader for Georgia. I was there's tons of people there doing wrestling and fights. And it's like, we shouldn't have any anxiety going in front of people. We do it all the time, but it's just like.
It exists. It's out there.
The older I've gotten, it's like it comes in from time to time and it's like, I need an outlet to release that anxiety. What do you do usually outside of the headphones?
I mean, lots of deep breathing.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you and transparent here. It was probably about 4 months ago, and I was doing a UFC, and right at the open from the UFC Apex, Las Vegas, Nevada, and I give the spiel. And right when I get into introducing in the blue corner, something overwhelmed my breathing. And I'm like, he's a mixed martial artist, 6 feet, 1 inch tall, and I couldn't get it out, and I was panicking. Oh my gosh, it was terrifying. And I got out of the octagon, and
then your voices start clicking in your head.
Yes. So don't Miles, one of our audio guys, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, dude, did you hear that?" And he's like, "No, what?" And maybe I heard it worse.
Yeah, you did.
Because it was coming from me, and I felt the panic.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What is going on?" But I knew it would go away. And I think I was trying to explain to my wife, like, why did it happen? And I think it's because UFC doesn't, for me, feel like it's my gig. I feel like I'm always the backup guy, and I feel very judged because of that. And it's probably just the enemy speaking negativity into my life. Negative
thoughts going in your brain, yep.
Right. So I think that's why that started to attack me. But I just prayed it out. I'm just like, "God, your will be done," because right now mine isn't. I want to do well, but right now I feel like I'm failing, and the enemy is lying to me over and over and over. And I know, like, I have a UFC. I got called to do UFC 267 in next weekend, and it's a pay-per-view, and it's in Abu Dhabi. And what happens immediately? I start getting attacked in my mind. Like, you're going to do a pay-per-view. Bruce isn't going to be there. People are going to be saying, why is this guy here? You know, all the negative things I can possibly say about myself are being in my head, and nobody's speaking it except for me.
Yeah. You know, my father-in-law, he was my former captain in the fire department. He had one wise thing to tell me. He had many wise things, but this is the one that sticks out in my head. He says, sometimes you just got to say, fuck it. Yep. You just got to do it. F it. You know, because I used to get those voices in my head anytime I stepped in the squared circle, especially if I saw somebody that was really good and they were doing it with me. And I'm like, man, they call this guy the one take wonder. He does everything in one take. And we're a tape for television, you know? And then you get are you going to make it? Are you going to be good enough?
Pressure's on.
And it just comes, I believe this to my heart, man. It comes with, if you're not practicing your craft, that's where a lot of the worries come in a lot of times. If you continue to practice your craft, the worries go away. You know you're good. You just got to convince your mind that you're good. And how much does it take? Because we're so hard on ourselves all the time. And I'm always wondering, should I charge it? Am I not charging enough? You know, should I charge more for my work and stuff like that? And the more confident I get in myself, and the more I reiterate this to myself that, hey, we put in a lot of friggin' time into this. It's not like we just stepped in the other day and we said, hey, I'm going to be a ring announcer. You've been doing it forever. You've been calling baseball since 97.
96.
96. There you go. And you probably messed around with trying to do some kind of ring announcing at home when you were a kid or something.
Course.
I don't know. I know I did.
Yeah.
So we just we gotta keep reiterating positive thoughts to ourselves.
Right.
You know, and it's hard.
It's got to be tough, man, with being live, because I know I take that deep breath and recenter and then, go about it. But being live, you can't do that. You know, you got, like you said, you've got to somehow fix it or correct it without people seeing. Yeah, that's insane. How did you recover?
Just prayed and started to breathe. And now, even before shows start, I just get my mind right, because I think sometimes we can get a little bit complacent, which leads to laziness. And I don't ever want to give anybody my less than my best, So I need to stay focused on fight 1, fight 6 to fight 12 and make sure that I'm fully committed to that. So just a lot of breathing and encouraging myself, like, hey, you're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. And it's not about you. And that's what I pray. I was like, Lord, let me glorify you in all things that I do. I know this is not for me. You put me in this position and I don't want to fail you, So it redirects everything away from me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let the games begin! Let the games begin! Let the games begin!
We know what that sound means. That's right. It's time for another round of a VO's Padded Improv. Today, Joe, we've got a script for you to read in whatever voice you want. So when you're ready, the mic is yours.
Okay. All right, here we go. You don't make me laugh. Okay.
Thank you.
Help me out, Dick! All I do is grunt and groan. Hurts me to walk anywhere. Went to see my physician, Dr. Jones. Took my cajones. Oops, he took my trousers off. Told me to cough. Doctor says there ain't nothing to discuss. He tells me any day I might have to wear a truss. What? Living with a hernia. All the time. It's a aggravation. Living with a hernia. Wouldn't be my ruination. What? Ruination?
What in tarnation?
What's that word? Living. You want me to do this whole thing, man?
Say what?
Living with a hernia. Got to have an operation. Feel so old.
Oh my gosh.
So much about pain.
What's a ruination? Gonna be a ruination.
That's perfect, man. I like that, dude. That's I got happy with the copy and paste. Sorry.
I thought it said urination. Hell if I know. That's a Weird Al word.
The Weird Al word. I like that.
I thought that was great, bro.
That was funny.
That was great.
Que jones, güey. Es no bueno. Oh, good times.
So, Joe, have you ever had a hernia before?
No, my older brother has.
Yeah, Brad and I both had stomach ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
Goodness.
We had buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
We did it at the same time. We had hernia surgery.
Yeah.
His was huge, though. Mine wasn't that big.
That's what she said.
The glory of hernias, man. They're great.
Yes.
It's sad when you have to have a surgery to take a break from life.
I think next week I'm going to hurdle myself down the stairs.
How common is that, though? Oh, man.
I had a surgery. Oh, I can lay around and watch TV for 3 days? Awesome.
There's a lot to unpack there that I probably shouldn't touch.
We've been talking about, going through your career and everything like that. Let's just elaborate a little bit more on being confident behind the mic. Deep breaths, practice your craft. What else would you suggest to somebody trying to make their way in?
Enunciation,
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Yeah.
Those are the two most important things. And speed, of course. I mean, you don't want to be Micro Machine Guy on the mic. And then you also don't want to be Barry Manilow either and just letting it flow out there, So I think a good pace and definitely the pronunciation,
Right.
how to say people's names.
That is big.
But I believe that where they're from and that name is more important than their own personal name because they're representing that community.
Represent?
Good thanks, Poland. You want to say that correctly because then you're a turd if you don't.
Yeah.
I
He's
did.
from Russia.
Who was it? I forget the gal. She's KGB Lee, Andrea Lee. Is she from Bossier?
Okay. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
she's from Bossier.
Yeah. She was from, KGB. Was she from Myrtle Beach? Didn't she,
There was a gal from Bossier City, Louisiana.
We interviewed her.
And I had said, from Bossier, Louisiana. That was a problem. Not for her, but it was a problem. And I corrected it. And I said, Andrew Winter from Bossier City.
Did she give you
No, not at all.
Did she give you a stunner?
No. But I will tell you real quick, there was one, somebody from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I said, from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I said, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Are you kidding me? Said the name, got out of there. I said, okay, well, look, if she wins, I'll correct it. And I get in there, she wins. Your winner by unanimous decision.
Yep.
From Minneapolis, Minnesota. I did it again. I was like,
sometimes that happens. I remember. I've done that too. Yeah. And you're worried. You're like, don't F it up. Don't F it up. Don't F. Oh, mother F.
Because it was on your brain that way. Yeah.
Thank God I don't have social media. They were probably blowing me up on that one.
Hey, why don't you talk about, there's a couple other things you got going on too. It's great that the UFC pay-per-view, that's awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
What else are you doing? Aren't you like recording for you do introductions for people on a site? What site is that?
Yeah, it's called ballparkdjcom. And it's myself and I believe 6 other major league announcers from professional baseball to NFL, NBA. And basically a team can submit their 12 kids' names and their numbers and we voice them.
Oh, right on.
It's a simple thing that we do on the phone. I go in my closet.
Go in the closet.
I just say, now batting number 14, Timmy Johnson. And then hit next and then do the next one. And then next and next.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's really cool, man. And we've had such good feedback. And I know the creator, his name's Chad Payne. He's in Atlanta. And my cousin told me about this. She's like, you should get on this. So I emailed him and expressed my interest. And, within a month, he had put me on the app and just really, really good dude. But he said like this year and every year since this thing started, it's been probably 5 years, it's doubling.
Nice.
So every month we have is twice as much as it was the year prior. And I'm like, it's incredible.
You got to love that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm going to have to reach out because I love doing that stuff.
That's you got that real deep voice too. I mean, that would be really beneficial too.
Weighing in at 10 pounds, little Mikey.
Little Mikey. Get up to bat, gosh, dang it. What else you got going on?
Shoot, man, being a dad.
Oh, yeah. I like that job. That's a great job.
Trying to find that balance there.
That's the best. Have they shown interest in what you do? I know I've got 3 kids. Well, one of them's 3 years old, but the other 2 are interested, like, in voicing. Are they the same? Are they showing interest?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's my daughter's into music. She's in a band. She's 13, plays electric guitar,
Nice.
sings a little bit. So I try to encourage her to do that. When I first got my Mac, I opened GarageBand and I was making some beats, and she did some freestyle for me, which was pretty cool. So I'm like, Danny, you've got to do some singing. I just want to play. I just want to be in the background,
Yeah.
Dad. I'm like, you have a talent though. Use it.
Hey, sometimes that's okay. Yeah, it's good to push your kids though. I mean,
And you know, Brad, because she's at that uncomfortable in my own skin age.
yeah.
You know, the body changes, that whole transition of from being this little girl who loved unicorns to now Green Day posters on the wall, which is cool because
Yeah, that is cool.
she's into my music too.
It's Green Day.
And we go to concerts. Like that's our thing. It's like we go to concerts. We went to Green Day, Weezer, Fall Out Boy.
Oh, Weezer, heck yeah.
We were going to Kiss last week.
Nice.
And then, some other stuff coming up.
That's one thing I miss about Georgia, actually being able to go to a concert. Because I want to I went to Ozfest like every year at the Best Buy Amphitheater. And I saw Rush there about 4 or 5 times too. But I wanted to take my daughter to not necessarily a metal concert, but like some kind of rock concert where we could sit out on the lawn area and just hang out and listen to music. And she's 7. She's going to be 7 on Halloween. So, I think she's old enough to go. I that's one thing. I didn't go to a concert until I was like 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
I wish I would have, been able to do that earlier in my life.
I'm pretty much the same.
What was your first concert, Joe? What was your first concert?
The first one I truly attended, I probably was 30 years old.
Yeah.
And it was like Linkin Park,
Nice.
Korn, Snoop Dogg. I mean, it was a pretty loaded card, and it was incredible. And I was just hooked.
Yeah.
So since then, I've been to, I couldn't even tell you the number, but Chevelle's my favorite band. So I've seen them 8 times in concert, and I'm actually going to see them in November down here
Nice.
in Atlanta.
What about you, Jim? What was your first concert?
Oh man, it was back in the early '90s. There's a place called Showcase in San Antonio. It was a lot of more local, I guess, a few cities away type thing. Local bands, like we saw like Guar and
Nice.
and some of the big names come through. But I think the big ticket event was probably Beastie Boys.
Oh,
and
that's probably awesome.
'90. It was No, actually, take that back. It was Cypress Hill, Far Side,
Ah.
and I think House of Pain. I think.
Oh my gosh.
But it was
That was like 94, 95 or something?
Yeah.
Hot Fest 94.
Yeah, man. Now you're talking.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think in '98 it was Beastie Boys at the big San Antonio Arena down there.
I saw Rat. It was Poison, Rat, and I think it was Scorpions. I saw that was my first concert.
Yeah, the latest one we saw, I took my wife to see Pat Benatar.
Oh, cool. Love is a Battlefield.
Yeah, that's her favorite. We were like, I think second row. It was, sit down venue type thing. It was real. And we got pictures before because I had gotten her the VIP. So she got to meet her and stuff.
Joe, why don't you talk about Anchor of Hope Ministries a little bit too? You're a Christian minister, and elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, I'm a firm believer in Christ, and Jesus is the only way.
Absolutely.
My wife and I started this ministry. Actually, she started this ministry back in 2015. And she just came home one night, made like 80 burritos, and I said, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm going out to feed these people at this park."
Yeah,
it's a really, really bad area of Anaheim. And I said, "Honey, that's prostitution, drugs, drug dealers, just everything bad." And she says, "God told me to go. I'm going to go." And I'm like, "All right, whatever, bye." And she goes and comes back, and just there was this whole period of transformation within her that I was like, "This is really neat. I want to be a part of that." I mean, I was a very comfortable Christian at the time. I'd go to Sundays and Wednesdays and, check it off on the list. And I said, I want to get deeper into it. So we really started to focus together on building relationships with people and helping to lead them in a direction that we believe everybody should go. And that's with the Lord. And, and we were never preachy. We didn't say, "Hey, you're going to burn if you don't repent." We never did any of that. It was all about the relationship. Because how many people do you know that used to be Christians or used to be Catholic or used to go to church but just don't anymore because of the legalism? And they get told, "Well, you're this way, so you don't fit in here and you need to change."
Or donate today.
And I don't believe that. I believe that the most important thing you can have is a relationship with Christ. That's the most important. The church is secondary. I mean,
Yeah.
the church that you go to is secondary.
Only God can judge. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Should judge, you know. But of course, we all like to throw our 2 cents in there.
Mhm.
But it's been really just a blessed ministry. It became from we were showering the homeless 2 days a week. I'd go on Mondays and Fridays at a portable pop-up tent with a pressure water shower thingy that went over the top of the tent.
Mhm.
And it was transforming for them, even because now you've got, you know, when you're clean and you got fresh clothes on, your mindset changes.
it does 100%.
So that weekly thing was something they looked forward to. I mean, they were lining up. We'd have 30 men, 30 women.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have 1 tent. We ended up getting 2 tents and 4 tents. And we did that for about 3 years. Then my wife opened a food pantry. So the garage was a food pantry.
Yeah.
And this is in Buena Park, California, where, you know, California is a sanctuary state, basically. So if you're homeless, you know, go there. And the resources are abundant. It's incredible. And it's terribly sad.
Yeah. We send money everywhere else, but we don't take care of the people in our own country and try to get them help.
And there's no recourse. You know, it's like, okay, to be homeless, to find yourself in a better situation, you have to stay homeless for 365 days. You cannot accept assistance
Wow.
for 365 days in California to get on a housing list. Now, if you become a resident and you're in their housing program, you're set for good. But the problem is, okay, Brad, you've been homeless for a year. Guess what? We found a place for you to go. This is going to be your apartment. You have a very limited amount of rent you got to pay. It's a percentage of whatever you make.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. But there's no lessons along the way. There's nobody teaching you how to manage your finances. There's nobody teaching you how to pay your bills, you know, or even, are you sober?
Yeah, that's a big one.
You know?
Right. That's a big
do
one.
you have 12 dogs? You know, this stuff it's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's unfairly designed to fail a lot of times, you know, and maybe it's changed since then. We left California in 2017, and maybe it's gotten better. From what I'm seeing on television, it hasn't gotten better. It's gotten worse.
Yeah. My cousin lives in San Francisco. He says it's pretty bad.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. But yeah, you're doing your part, and that's what matters. I mean, we all need to help out others, right? I mean, I feel like that's something that we should do. There's so much negativity and hate in people's words and stuff like that, and everyone wants to crap on everybody's parade. But if we just helped each other out, I mean, the world would be a beautiful place.
I went through this little bit of timidness. I don't have a suit deal. I have maybe 8 suits that I wear, different shirts and ties and whatnot. And one of my buddies, Graham Boylan, he's actually the owner of Cage Warriors. He goes, "I'll get you a suit deal." He calls me, he goes, "Hey, I got you a suit deal." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, but your social media sucks."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "The guy's going to hook you up with a suit, but he wants some social media kickback." And I'm like, "But you know, I don't do that, right?"
Yeah.
So now I'm a little bit timid. And
Yeah.
actually yesterday I opened up my Instagram to everybody for the first time. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was just so nervous about doing it because I hate negative feedback. I hate division. You know, it's like,
Yep.
I just want to post a picture of my kids. You like it, you like it. You know, I don't care about posting pictures of the octagon or
Right.
look at me where I am. I'm getting on the plane headed to wherever. I don't do that stuff.
That's tough stuff for us to do in our age bracket, Joe.
I know. Maybe that's it too.
At the same time, I tell my kids and even my wife, it's the little saying "fopo," you know, and it's easier said than done. But fuck other people's opinions, you know. It's like,
Oh yeah.
That's good.
I keep trying to remember that. Like, yeah, there's going to be negative. There's going to be people out there. I mean, look at this whole damn cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
These Karens, they're so. I think of it like they're upset.
Netflix is striking on Chappelle's show, but with what was the show with the little girls in it? Where they didn't go strike on that one, right? So that makes no sense.
Yeah, I got to think of it like something's going on in their life that they've got to project out
Right.
to somebody else, and that's all it is, and leave it at that. You know.
You know, but if you look at it as a whole, you can kind of see like, okay, this had to happen. California had to become a sanctuary state. All these negative things had to happen for people to see the problem and start to address it. Because now people are standing up and saying, you know what? I'm not going to get the shot. You're going to take my job. That's fine. But I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. And I'm a firm believer in your body, your choice. You want to get a shot, get a shot. You don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. And I just lost a cousin to COVID.
Yeah, the shot protects people from getting COVID. If you got the shot, it's going to protect you from getting COVID.
Not true.
It's not going to protect the person next to you from getting it.
But that's false. It's not protecting anybody from getting it.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a town in Ireland, 99.7% vaccinated, and a month later they had their highest COVID totals.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up that you have to mandate something that is ineffective. And calling it a vaccination means that you cannot get something. This is more of a flu shot where, hey, we're going to give you a chance against it when you get it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to promise you're not going to get it. It's become a political pawn.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you know what, this is for another podcast, but not. But no. And I've never heard somebody mention it that way that you just did. That makes sense. Relating it to the flu shot. That doesn't mean you're not going to get it. That just means it's going to help give you a chance, like taking emergency, that drink or whatever to build up your immunity or immune system.
Yeah, I took one this morning.
It's going to give you that fighting chance.
Right.
Versus some of these that are throwing it down your throat. Thanks, Joe. That's a good analogy how you brought that up.
And with that analogy, we're going to wrap up the show, Joe. It's been great having you on the show, by the way. We finally got it right this time.
We think.
Oh, shoot, I got to hit record. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, fingers crossed, right? Oh, my God. But you got any final thoughts? You want to make any plugs for your now newly released social media? Go fire away.
Sure. If you want to follow me on Instagram, at Joe A. Martinez, you're welcome to join in. Please don't be a turd. Kindness is free. Let's be kind. We don't need more division. We really need to truly figure out how to get along with each other without destroying each other. And I believe it's with love.
Yeah, with love. Yeah. Love is definitely the key. And a lot of people have hate. They got a lot of hate building up and they want to be able to control other people. And you just, stay in your lane and take care of yourself. And then you can help others. Jim?
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be your number one fan. I find you. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Anyway, you can find me at my websites at bigjimmedia.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter at bigjimmedia. And how about you, Brad?
You can check me out at Brad Storm Voiceover on Facebook Business, Brad Storm VO on Twitter and Instagram. You can check me out on Brad Storm Lanou under LinkedIn, Brad Storm VO on YouTube. And you can check out this show, a VO's Padded Room podcast, on YouTube as well. Just look up a VO's Padded Room podcast. You can also check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Captivate, and Ghana. If you don't know what that is, you might want to go check it out. Go to the doctor. You might have to have that checked out. But yeah, we're all over the place. So make sure you like, subscribe, share with the world, and give us a 5-star rating where you can.
Absolutely. And when the day gets long and shit gets real, you gotta
punch every day in the face. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show.